Well, good afternoon, folks. It's Sunday, May the 16th, 2021. Tim McLeod here with my longtime, lifelong best friend, Paul. We pretty much grew up together and pretty much are brothers. So, um, anyway, just to give you folks an update about my girlfriend, Erina. Um, Moving up, some of you may know that she lost her appeal through the Hague courts in Poland, and it's looking as it stands right now. We have about 2 weeks to somehow miraculously move her from Poland back to Italy because the courts say the children should be in the place of their birth. Um, the which those who know about the situation with that, we all agree that's a bunch of BS. So, not going to try to curse or anything like that on here, but pretty much tell you guys like it is. Um, we've got some multiple parties now trying to help us out from different backgrounds, political corners, what have you, all with the common interest of helping her. Um, and being Sunday, it's not much we all can do because folks are out of their offices and so forth. Being a weekend. So hopefully tomorrow morning, when the sun comes up, the wheels will start turning. So, but what I'm going to kind of talk to you today is more of a deep down personal message to the world. Paul and I are going to give an account of something we observed today that ties into all this. No matter what your politics, what your culture, what your race, religious background, anything like that, there's something out here that bonds us all together as human beings, or defines us as human beings, and that's compassion. You know, Even with my own Christian upbringing, the greatest commandment Jesus ever gave his disciples was love the Lord God with all your heart and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, that doesn't necessarily pertain to the guy or the girl that's sitting right next to your house. It pertains to everybody. And I think, if every human being, no matter if they believe in that particular form of religion or not, took that as the golden rule in their heart and let that be the driving force, the world would be a lot better place today. Um, Paul and I, we went, the situation in Erina, of course, has been a constant ongoing subject around my house. But Paul and I had to go up to the grocery store this morning, and going up to the store. Paul, tell him what you saw on the.
It was a lady and a child with holding a sign saying she had lost her job. She was a single mother and needed food.
Okay. Now, just looking at her right off at the distance, what was your assumption her nationality?
Spanish.
Okay. All right. So remember that. So, of course, at that moment we didn't have any cash on us, but we went into the store, and Paul pulled out money off of his purchase, and we went back, and sure enough, they were standing there. We motioned for her to come over to the vehicle, and gave her the money. And I just asked her, I says, "Where are you from? What's your nationality?" And she says, "Romanian." All right. And that just goes to tell you, people, don't judge a freaking book by its cover. We are too quick to assume because one does not necessarily look like us, that they are this specific national background or whatever. I know plenty of people that have black skin that are from freaking Norway or Sweden or Italy or whatever. All right. But, I'm going down a rabbit hole on that one. But the thing about it was, here was a woman with her child in desperate need. Now, our society, for some of us, has trained us to turn a blind eye and immediately flip that hard switch on and, try to think about something else when we see something like this. But how can you? How can you really do it? Without it sooner or later coming back to haunt you. And think about it. Even a lot of fraternal institutions in this world, one of their first edicts or directives, per se, I can think of one, protect the widows and the orphans. Well, unfortunately, we live in a society where women are abused, they're battered, all right, not by their own choice. They're put in situations that are dire. They are in constant living fear. For example, in my situation, here's a woman that's going to be returning to a country known for its history of mafia, and the former spouse is connected with the mafia. All right. So naturally, with even out, besides the fact that he's already made his threats and his assaults, even if those had not taken place, we know she's walking into a death trap. All right. But that goes on in these other countries, whether it's religious persecution, cultural persecutions. We look at what's happened to the Uyghurs and Turkmenistan, or what's going on with those people. Our media kind of downplays it, and they don't want to talk about it. They want to focus on stoking the pot here in America, what's going on. But we need to take a serious account of what's happening in other parts of the world. I mean, think back to the beginning of World War II, all right? The Allies, the United States pretty much drug its feet until the Japanese attacked us at Pearl Harbor, then we were all in, all right? But well into the late 1930s, our government knew what Hitler was doing to the Jewish people and turned a blind eye. Do we do that same mistake again, and then one day find ourselves walking in thinking we've liberated and ended a war, only to walk into an area to find out mass carnage, mass extinction, genocide, all those things that have happened before? Do we allow them to happen again? So, I don't want my message to become political. I know my viewpoint on immigration probably makes a lot. I can't identify to a particular party in American politics. I mean, granted, yes, I'm conservative, but I'm not registered with any party affiliations. And just because the other side, I don't necessarily agree with the majority of things they're doing. I feel like this is one thing we all have to find common ground and stand on. All right. Instead of sitting there and going at it about what the other side's policies are on the border, we need to all step forward and say, what can we do to help, and what can we do to correct the situation? Because no matter who's been in charge for the last 100 years in this country, our immigration policies leave a lot to be desired. All right. A lot of folks here in America are under the assumption that these people are not vetted when they come to the borders. When you look at something like the United Nations Help Center for Refugees, and you can go to it, unhcr.org. All right, it is the UN Refugee Agency. The United Nations Refugee Agency actually vets the majority of these families that are coming to our border. They've already done it. All right. They're allowing them to request asylum from without the border for the most part. Some, granted, don't make it there or show up, but very few are showing up at our borders really without any type of vetting procedure going on. And when they do show up, they are being vetted. All right. It might be a long, drug out process, and maybe that is one of the things we need to correct. All right. But, again, no matter what your politics are, open your eyes and look into the eyes of those people that are trying to come here, and then look in the eyes of the people that are within our own borders already. I really have gotten to the point, as long as they're not being used as tools for political purposes, I have no issue whatsoever for folks coming into my country. All right. We've been a nation of immigrants since our founding. All right. We all came here one way, source or the other. All right. Unless somebody is actually, we know that person is coming here to do dire harm to the country, to individuals, whatever. we need to figure a way to correct it. Paul, what's your thoughts about that?
Pretty much the same, Tim. I just think that we've got to show compassion. We have to look out for the people here. I mean, we've got veterans on the street. We've got women on the street prostituting themselves. There's just so many things going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing about it. We constantly find ourselves, even though we're using the internet today to put this message out, we often find ourselves focused on things at home, getting on the internet, but, are we getting out there? Are we actually physically helping people that we see in need? Whether it's that homeless person, that immigrant, that veteran, are you getting out there doing what you can do to help those individuals? Somebody once said you can't save them all. Well, yes, you can. One at a time. That's where it all starts. One at a time. Get to them as you get to them. All right. Just don't sit there and turn your head away and think to yourself, somebody else is going to step up and take charge. All right. You be the person who steps up and takes charge. You very well may be the one and only person on the planet that can light the fire to get others to help that individual out. Because God forbid, you never know, one day you might be in that same shoes. Are you really that sure that your life today is going to be stable and sound 2 years down the road, 5 years, 20 years? Can you yourself sit there and say with absolutely 100% certainty, my life is going to be great. I'm going to have a job. I'm going to have income. I'm going to have support. All right. A lot of those people, I guarantee you 99% of those people one time probably thought their life was okay too. But we've got to start looking out for each other and helping our fellow human beings out here, no matter where you come from. And the one and last thing I'm going to say, please, for the love of God, if there's commentary on this post to be made, please do not make it political. Do not try to insult anybody for those very things I've discussed, whether it's their religion, their politics, wherever they come from, what country they come from. Let's all try to be positive for a change and make a difference in the world. That's all I got to say. Well, let me finish with that. I do want to thank some folks out there on this. I want to thank my good friend John Kluge. John is one that's kind of introducing me to a lot of these organizations for humanitarian services and needs to help people. I want to thank my friend Randy Reynolds. I want to thank the crew at RealDealMediaTV.com, Dean Ryan, the director, and our producer, Lisa Duffy. And Jan Mankey. There's a ton of you folks out there. You people, your hearts are gold. And let's just pray that we create a lot more golden hearts on this planet. Let's put the stupid, petty differences that divide us as people and throw them off to the side and find what makes us the human race and bind us together. That's all I got to say. Love everybody. Peace.